Oh no, a superhero's secret identity was leaked to the villain. Oh wait, it must just be Wednesday. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Episode 6 of Arrow, Human Target. And tonight's episode was both a wrap-up episode and a self-contained story, and I think that's rather interesting. They managed to pull off a quarter season arc and villain while still maintaining a season-long storyline. But you know what that means? So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. And I'm going to start off with the fact that John Diggle is back. Not just as John Diggle Daddy, but as Spartan. And I love the fact that the new recruits were in awe of him. Every once in a while we forget, as much as Oliver's the main character, Diggle's been there from the beginning fighting alongside him. Team Arrow really pulled off a pretty good win here, and I have to say, they all came off as pretty badass when looking for Wild Dog. I think Wild Dog came off as pretty badass in the way he handled himself, and of course, the MVP of the team is still Ragman, who is on a level way above the others. Although Terrific still cracked a few jokes, he didn't feel quite so comic relief this time, so I was very happy with that. He seems to be integrating a little bit better. I guess that leaves Artemis to talk about, and I have to say, when Diggle referred to her as a Laurel Lance wannabe, I kind of once again felt like, yeah, the Black Canary costume would have been a better choice. The Felicity part of this episode didn't feel too tacked on, and I have to say the idea of her and Oliver moving on sounds really good, but at the same time I kind of feel like they're still just setting us up for them to get back for the end of the season. So on to Human Target himself. So for those of you that don't know, Human Target is a DC comic character that used to operate in the Batman-verse, but at the same time also had a TV show that was loosely based on it not too long ago. The character basically is exactly what you saw in the show, so this was a good interpretation of him. He is a master of disguise, a counter-assassin, and a super agent. Basically think if James Bond was trying to save lives instead of take them. Now, all in all, I liked the way the episode portrayed him, but you know what I liked best? There was no explanation. There was no origin. Even with Ragman, we had at least a little bit of an origin thrown in there. But like the JSA earlier this season, except in Legends of Tomorrow, we have a superhero show up who's just a superhero. Yeah, he's a more down-to-earth superhero than a Powers one, but it makes me feel good when we don't do origins, when we just say, hey, this guy exists in the universe. And then we come to the end of the episode, and of course the entire scene with Tobias Church being arrested. And you know what? I loved the whole scene where he was in the back of the van and you just heard the fight outside. It was a great way to show the dread and the terror and the idea of just how badass the guy coming for him was. And who was that? Well, that's Prometheus, of course. And Prometheus now knows Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow. And now I made a joke at the beginning of the video, but I have to say, I tweeted this out back on my personal Twitter during the episode. When the episode cut to commercial right after Wild Dog made the dramatic reveal, he now knows that Oliver Queen is the Arrow. I really wanted them to come back and have Oliver say, no, don't worry about it. I mean, do you know how many of my villains know who I am? I mean, Race did, Merlin, who I guess is another Race, did. At the end of the day, actually, almost all the big bads, Deathstroke knew who I was. A lot of people that come gunning for me know my secret identity. It's kind of my thing. Don't worry about it. But of course, Prometheus is different because he's even more scary, right? Because we have to up the ante every one. Well, as we saw in the previews for next week, it all comes down to that list of names. Ollie came home with a list of names. Didn't believe in transcendence. Time for a few small... Alright, I'll stop. So, that book that, again, we got to see in the flashbacks, just to remind us, is going to be important. And I'm still leaning on the fact that Prometheus is the son of someone who was killed by the Arrow. However, at the same time, there are people that say that it's Tommy Merlin resurrected somehow. And there's other people that say that it's a version of Diggle's son come back in time. And you know what? I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Occam's razor is really on my side on this. For those of you that don't know, in the comic books, Prometheus is kind of like a reverse Batman. His parents were criminals who were gunned down by cops, and then he swore vengeance and trained his whole life. So I'm betting we'll see something like that. And I'd really love it if there was no connection to the past and this was all just a wild goose chase. However, all in all, I'm enjoying the season so far, and I ask that question at the beginning of all my Arrow episodes right on the title screen. Did they fail the show? And I say no. Season 5 is doing awesome, right on track. So for now, I need you to like, subscribe, and share this video so that we can grow this community, and then join me back here next time as we take a walk through the heart of the stories we tell. Thanks for watching.